Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a look at Jomtien Beach in Thailand. It's right there next to Pattaya.
That's right. And we've pulled together a bunch of recent stuff. We've got a 2025 accommodation guide, a street food review from this year, too, Kayak's latest on hostels.
Plus some 2025 news from the Pattaya Mail. They're talking about, how affordable Pattaya really is now and why Jomtien seems popular with Europeans.
Yeah, and there are some interesting coffee shop reviews from a year or two back and a go-to guide for 2025 covering weather and festivals, and even a Trip.com post about the nightlife from 2023. Quite a mix.
So the mission today is basically to piece all this together. We want to give you a clear picture of Jomtien for 2025.
Exactly. Where to stay, what's good to eat, what makes it, Jomtien, especially if you want that blend of chilling out and local vibes without breaking the bank.
Okay, let's dive in. First up, finding a place to stay. This 12 places to stay article seems like a great starting point. It covers hotels, resorts, budget spots.
Yeah. Right. And it highlights some specifics. Like if you're pushing the boat out a bit, there's the Veranda Resort Pattaya M Gallery.
Oh, yeah, that one looks nice. Right on Jomtien Beach. Apparently quite quiet, good for families.
That's what it says. Stylish rooms, bathtubs, sea views, all that jazz. Plus pools, photo spots, and a couple of restaurants, the Jetty and Sea Sky.
Sounds lush. Price-wise, you're looking at, starting from about 3,700 Thai baht a night? So kind of upper mid-range, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. But what's really interesting is the sheer variety. You go from that down to something like the B2 Jomtien Pattaya Boutique and Budget Hotel.
Okay, what's the deal with that one?
Well, it's flagged as budget-friendly, starting around just 700 baht. Clean rooms, views, near convenience stores, maybe not right on the beach, but easy to get there by car.
See, that's quite a jump down in price, under 1,000 baht.
Exactly. And that speaks to the value you can find, especially if you don't need to be literally stepping onto the sand from your hotel room. It suggests Jomtien still caters to that, budget-conscious traveler.
Definitely. And there are loads in between, right? Like Varian Jomtien Beach, high-rise, beachfront, near a 7-Eleven, and even a local fishing market. Rooms from around 1,500 baht.
Or the Centaur Life Maris Resort. Big place, seems very family-oriented, bunk beds in some rooms, big pool. That starts around 1,300 baht.
It really feels like there's a spot for pretty much everyone. We're seeing modern places like Jomtien Pattaya, Marine Beach Pattaya.
The Now Hotel, which sounds cool, like a loft style.
Right, and chic spots like Samarata Pattaya and Tribe Pattaya. Tribe's got this unique tribal design, apparently.
Yeah, sounds interesting. And most of these seem to fall roughly in that 1,000 to 2,000 baht range, give or take.
Quite a spread. It definitely doesn't sound like a one-size-fits-all kind of place.
No, not at all. And the fact that so many, even the more budget-friendly ones, emphasize being near the beach, even if not directly on it, tells you that's the main draw.
For sure. Now, what about the super budget end? Like hostels? Kayak had some listings?
Yeah, they did. And the prices there are, really low, starting from like $6 a night in some cases.
$6?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yep. They mentioned B&B hostel at Jomtien and Jomtien Beach Hostel specifically.
And Kayak made that interesting point about people booking hostels in Bangkok for like 13 days on average.
Right. It makes you think maybe Jomtien often fits into a longer backpacking trip through Thailand or Southeast Asia, a more affordable stop.
It really shows the different ways people travel. And that price difference, Kayak highlights. What was it, $80 average for a hostel night versus $171 for a hotel?
Yeah, it's stark. If your priority is keeping costs down and maybe spending longer traveling, hostels in Jomtien look like a very viable option.
Okay, so accommodation covered lots of choice. Let's switch gears to food, because one source, this Lemon 8 user review from 2025, calls Jomtien a street food paradise.
High praise. And what's great is they get specific.
Yeah, like what?
Well, they mention this place for boiled cockles. J. Duan Hoi Krang Luok says they're super fresh, juicy, not fishy.
Ooh, I like cockles.
Apparently, you can even choose how cooked you want them, like 4 levels. And they recommend the 150 baht portion. Sounds like a real local favorite.
Nice. What else?
The Big Market Jomtien opens from 4 p.m. till midnight.
Okay.
Sounds like the place to go. Huge variety seafood, obviously, but also German pork knuckle.
German pork knuckle.
Yeah. Crispy pork, grilled salmon with butter, loads of desserts. And importantly, they say it's got a relaxed vibe with seating so you can actually hang out and eat.
That's key, isn't it? Not just grab and go. Makes it more of an evening out.
Totally. It suggests the street food scene is also a social scene. And that mix of Thai and international stuff, like the pork knuckle, shows it probably appeals to lots of different people.
Gotcha. Any tips for spicy food lovers?
Oh, yeah. Or Sanran Yam Sup Sup, a spicy salad shop.
Sounds intense.
They mention a fresh salmon salad for 200 baht, seafood mama noodles for 150, and again, the vibe chill by the sea, evening lights. Sounds pretty idyllic, actually.
That sounds amazing. Like exactly the kind of local food experience you'd hope to find.
Definitely. And the review also mentions just the general scene along the beach road from 4 p.m. onwards. Snacks, seafood, desserts, different places to sit, like on mats or chairs.
So the whole beachfront kind of comes alive with food in the evening.
Seems like it. And the Lemon 8 user also links to other posts about the Big Market, another market called Pattaya Beach Market, and local seafood markets. So there's clearly a lot to explore food-wise.
And didn't they mention something about really early morning markets too?
Yes. The fishing markets, like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., you can apparently buy seafood super fresh, straight off the boats.
Wow. Talk about connecting with the source. You could buy fish there and maybe find it cooked at the night market later.
Exactly, that kind of connection. It gives you a real glimpse into the local rhythm, beyond just the tourist stuff. And the fact they highlighted related posts suggests there's a strong online community sharing tips about Jomtien food.
Okay, so great accommodation choices, amazing sounding street food. Now, why is Jomtien apparently becoming such a draw for European tourists? Maybe more so than Pattaya Beach itself. The Pattaya Mail article had some ideas.
Yeah, the main thing seems to be the atmosphere. It's just quieter, more relaxed than Pattaya Beach.
Which can be pretty intense, right?
Right. So that calmer vibe likely appeals to Europeans looking for more of a chill beach holiday, less of the chaos.
Makes sense. And they mentioned family-friendly, too.
Big time. That's a major factor. Families might prefer Jomtien's vibe, maybe feel it's a bit safer or more suitable for kids compared to some parts of Pattaya known more for nightlife.
Okay. What about cost?
That comes up too. The article suggests Jomtien offers a wider range of affordable places to stay, better value, especially for longer trips, which Europeans often take.
And it's not just about price and quiet, is it? They mention culture.
Yeah, easier access to local culture, proximity to local markets, temples. It feels a bit more like real Thailand compared to the very commercialized main strip in Pattaya.
So tapping into that desire for more authentic experiences we talked about with the food markets.
Precisely. It feels less like a tourist bubble, perhaps.
Plus activities. I think they mentioned water sports.
Windsurfing, kite surfing, jet skiing. Jomtien seems to be developing as a bit of a spot for that. So if you're into that kind of active beach holiday.
It's a draw. And nature spots nearby, too, like Pranam Nak Hill.
Yeah, parks, scenic views. It adds another dimension beyond just the beach. Offers a bit more variety than just sand and sea.
So summing up the European appeal.
Yeah.
Quieter, family-friendly, better value, more local culture access, water sports, nature nearby, and just generally lower prices and fewer crowds.
That seems to be the gist of it, according to the Pattaya Mail, a combination of factors making it an attractive alternative to the main Pattaya buzz.
Okay, that paints a clear picture. But let's zoom out slightly. That other Pattaya Mail piece tackled the question of whether Pattaya overall is still budget-friendly. What was the verdict there?
Well, it's a bit nuanced. The article suggests things are changing. Costs are rising, accommodation, transport, entertainment.
How come?
Partly because there's been a push towards more luxury options, more international brands setting up shop, which is great if that's what you want, but it can squeeze the budget end a bit, especially in the real hot spots.
So the old image of Pattaya being universally super cheap might need updating. They mentioned transport costs specifically, right? Fuel prices, fees, even traffic making things less efficient.
Exactly. And as Pattaya tries to attract a wider range of tourists, including those with more money to spend, the demand for higher-end stuff goes up. That naturally pushes prices up overall, particularly in peak season.
But it's not all doom and gloom for budget travelers.
No, definitely not. The article makes it clear that affordable options do still exist. You just might need to look beyond the absolute main drags.
And crucially for us, Jomtien Beach gets a specific mention, right? As a place that still offers more reasonable prices and that laid-back vibe.
Yes. That really reinforces Jomtien's position. It seems to be holding on to its value proposition even as Central Pattaya shifts slightly more upmarket. The advice is basically explore areas like Jomtien for better deals.
Which brings us nicely to this little place called Zaling Cafe. Wang Nai Reviews picked it out as a real local budget gem, Like under 100 baht per person average spend.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And the description is just charming. It's basically a mogul coffee cart, a street stall right near Jomtien Beach.
Oh, neat. Do they say exactly where?
Well, one review says it's in front of a noodle shop, Nai Ek Tom Yum. Another says near Jomtien Pattaya Hotel. Suggests it's probably a well-known little spot that might move slightly, but people know where to find it.
And people like the coffee.
They rave about it, taste, variety.
Yeah.
They mentioned some really interesting drinks. Thai iced tea mixed with orange juice, matcha caramel green tea, espresso with honey and lemon.
Wow, that's creative for a street cart.
Totally. And they emphasize the chill beachfront atmosphere. Plus, get this, they call it craft coffee. Apparently, they use hand-ground beans and a mocha pot.
No way. At those prices?
Right.
That's amazing.
Right. It's like the perfect example of that authentic, affordable, local Jomtien experience. It's finding places like Xiling cafes that really gives a place its character, I think.
Absolutely. Okay, so we know roughly where to stay, what to eat, why people are going. What about the practical stuff, like weather in 2025? Any big events? The Agoda Guide had info on this?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Best time to visit for good weather is November to February. Warm, not much rain. Ideal beach time.
Okay, the cool season, relatively speaking.
Right. Then summer, March to May, gets hot and humid, like up to 35 Celsius. So pack light clothes, stay hydrated.
Got it. And the rainy season.
June to October, more rain, obviously, peaking in September and October. Doesn't mean it rains all day, every day, but something to factor in.
Okay, so plan around November, February ideally. But other times are possible if you don't mind heat or some rain showers. What about festivals? Agoda mentioned some.
Yep. Key ones are Songkran Thai New Year in April. Think massive water fights, street parties. It's intense, but an incredible experience.
Prepare to get drenched.
Absolutely. Then Loi Krathong, usually November. That's the beautiful one where people float little decorated baskets, krathongs on the water. Very photogenic.
Lovely. Anything specific to Jomtien?
Yes, the annual Jomtien Beach Festival. Live music, food stalls, games on the beach, sand castles, fireworks. Sounds like a proper local celebration.
Cool.
And then there's the big Pattaya International Fireworks Festival in December, which you can probably see well from Jomtien too. So checking the calendar for these could definitely add something special to your trip.
Good to know. Those festivals sound like a great way to plug into the local energy.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, what happens after dark? What's the nightlife like in Jomtien? That Trip.com post from 2023 touched on it.
It suggests the scene has picked up, especially around the Jomtien Beach evening market.
Ah, the market again.
Yeah, it seems to be a real focal point. Popular with tourists, apparently a hub for fresh seafood right off the boats, which the post hints might have been boosted by social media buzz. Sounds like a lively, but maybe more relaxed evening hangout.
Fresh seafood, market buzz.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great vibe for the evening. Probably a bit different from the main Pattaya nightlife.
Likely, yeah. More food-focused, perhaps more casual. But linking back to the Agoda Guide, it does also mention beachfront bars and clubs in Jomtien.
Okay.
So it seems you have options. You can have the more laid-back market experience or find more typical bars and maybe some smaller clubs right there along the beach if you want something a bit more energetic, a bit of a spectrum.
Right. So wrapping up our deep dive on Jomtien Beach for 2025, it really sounds like a destination with a lot going for it.
Definitely. We've seen that huge range of accommodation, from budget hostels right up to nice resorts.
That amazing street food scene, which seems like a highlight for many people, and it's affordable too.
Uh-huh. And that distinct atmosphere, more relaxed, more family-friendly than Central Pattaya, which seems to be a big part of its appeal, especially for, say, European visitors.
Yeah, it feels like while Pattaya Central might be getting pricier, Jomtien is holding on to this nice balance. You get the beach, you get affordability, but you also get that authentic local flavor.
Exactly. It really presents itself as a compelling alternative or maybe a complementary stop if you're exploring that part of Thailand.
So the takeaway seems to be, whether it's the quiet beaches calling you, or the lure of trying all that street food, or maybe timing your visit for a festival,
Jomtien in 2025 looks like it offers unique charm and pretty solid value.
it definitely makes you think about what you look for in a beach destination. Maybe it's time to start looking into Jomtien yourself and see what this place has to offer firsthand.